selling, take it direct to the consumer. Tunaelewa hapo? So ikasema lazima tukue na balance ya 10,000 shillings in the account. That time 10,000 was a lot. I was in the bank as tulikuwa tumekuwa exempted juu hata sisi hatuge afford. Sasa mwenye anaambia customer ukuje na 10,000 ama uende kabisa, yeye mwenyewe hawezi kuafford. Unaona pahali shida iko? So ikakuwa wana serve that high end clientele ya corporates, zile companies kubwa kubwa, wale matajiri, politicians. So what happened? Equity ikakuja ikaona an opportunity hapo. Haya, na mimi nikideal na hawa watu wengine wote wameweka pesa kwa mattresses. Yule ndio anapokea wa milioni 1 na mimi nikichukua shilingi 10, shilingi 20, shilingi 30, I combine them na niwatafutie kitu ambayo wanaweza kufurahia na itawasaidia. Hapo ni sawa sawa. So ikakuja na concept ya high volumes, deal with the masses. Chukua watu wote. Tulikuwa tunaenda kuitana kwa barabara na huku na kufanya crusades za Equity, tukisema Equity ndio hii hapa. Sijui nani waliona hizo matracks huku. Leta watu wote, tegeleza kapesa kidogo ndio, lakini ukiziongezea zote zinakuwa kubwa kama wale wengine, si ndio? So hata kwa biashara yako unaweza kuamua, na tutaangalia hiyo, wewe ungetaka approach yako iwe namna gani. Hapo ni sawa sawa. So kwa hizo bank billing nilisoma ziko tofauti na nikatoka na information. Niliretire ama nilichukua retirement last year, but end of 2023 I felt I want to do my own things, and then I also had known Randy, and I came in also to support the good work that he is doing from the experience that I have. Bwana asifiwe. So I also, maybe the training that I will do today is based on mostly banking and mostly what I got from Equity, and then also as a business person. I always try to ask myself, when I was in the bank, nilikuwa najiuliza, mbona customer hawaelewi vile tunawaambia? Ilikuwa rude kufikiria hivyo, si ndio? So customer anakuja, unamwambia ninahitaji hii na hii na hii na hii ndio ufungue account, ama ndio nikupatie hii product kama ni loan, ama nikufanyie hivi. Customer na yeye amekuja na story yake, hataki hiyo, anataka vile anataka. Sasa mimi ndio niko na bank, na ndio mimi niko na pesa ya, na haunisikilizi, na wewe ndiye customer. So na mimi natakikana kukusikiliza na mimi sikusikilizi. Unaona hapo iko shida. So I always ask myself, what is it that a client ama wewe kama mteja unaweza kuwa unatafuta kwa bank, na ungeitaka namna gani, na kwa nini bank nayo inaleta masharti ambayo tunaona ikiwa a bit inhuman sometimes, na ina insist na ilifungua milango ikupatie ile msaada, kama ni kufungua account, kama ni save, kama ni kukusaidia kuelekeza ama kuinvest what you have, ama kama ni kukupatia loan. Si hapo ni sawa sawa. Most of these things tunaongea na Alex anatufundisha, ama mafundisho yote ya biashara. Swali ile inakuanga ni nani atanipea pesa. Sana sana ni utatoa pesa wapi. Si hapo ni sawa sawa. Na wale tulikuwa nao Masai Mara tuliangalia mambo mingi pahali tunaweza kupata pesa. Sio tu kwa bank, kuna kwingine tunaweza, but kwa bank ni kuzuri juu kuna confidentiality, si ndio? Niliona Bishop ako na gari mzuri sana. Angesunguka huku akiambia mtu wewe nikopee 100 ya kununua gari. Si mngekuwa wote mnasema ile na gari ni sisi tulinunua. Lakini akikuja kwa bank, hamutajua mnafikiria Bishop wetu ni sonko sana, si ndio? So pia ina heshima kwenda kwa bank, si ndio? Lakini kama unataka 5,000 utaenda kwa bank. So hii mambo tuliangalia tukiwa pale Masai Mara, na tukasema kuna sources mingi, depending na what you want to do. So jana wale walikuwa tuliangalia a story from Matthew 25:14. I was worried Randy was talking about the previous parable, so I thought anataka kuguzia hii, lakini ni sawa juu tuliuguzia. And we were trying to justify the person alipewa talanta moja. Wale tulikuwa hapa tunakumbuka hivyo. Tuliangalia the text from a different angle, tukajiuliza what exactly went wrong, kwamba huyu mtu hakukubalika kwa tajiri yake. Ni nini ilienda vibaya? Na tukasema saa ingine hatuna answers what happened. Just like in the case of Cain and Abel, hatujui kabisa kwa nini Mungu alichukua moja, ama sijui kwa nini moja alikubalika na mwingine hakukubalika. Si hapo ni sawa sawa? Maana Biblia inatuambia kwa hawa watu watatu kwamba they were all servants of this master, na alikuwa amewaweka, so walikuwa watu wazuri, si ndio? Na alijua kila mmoja wao alikuwa na capability tofauti. So kuna wale wa kuku moja, kuna wale wako na hardwares, wholesalers, kuna wale producers ama manufacturers. All of us, kuna yule ako na church iko na watu 20, kuna bishop hapa ako na church kubwa, but all of us are equal in one thing, that we are all servants of our master. Si hapo ni sawa sawa? So tukaangalia what could have gone wrong, tukasema maybe there was an age variance. So tukajiuliza kwa biashara zetu, how does age affect? Tukasema mambo ya training, na kama hii tunafanya, na tukasema ni mzuri kwenu mna sacrifice kuja kusikiliza trainings. Experience which is a product of training, a product of time that you have been in certain business or a certain job or a certain calling. Then availability of resources, na tukasema tutaenda kwa WhatsApp groups kwa zile za mazishi na harusi. Tafadhali ukuwe na an equal number of group ambayo ni ya wakulima wanaulizana Alex alikuwa anasema nini, have you tried, form a group ya watu ambao wako kwa transport. Si hapo ni sawa sawa? Tukasema also enda kwa YouTube. As we look at entertainment, I know tunaangaliaga, hata mimi naangaliaga entertainment. Napenda sana game inaitwa badminton, so ninaendaga kuangalia sana sana inachezwa huko Asia na Wahindi. Naendaga kuangalia, so who is at the top in the nations as of today. Juu hata mimi nilicheza sawa sawa, lakini nikicheza hiyo pia ninaangalia wale wanatufundisha ama wana mafundisho ya kibiashara wanasema nini, and through it I also gain knowledge. Sawa sawa. Then tukasema mambo ya environment, ukielekeza ujue pahali unaenda kuweka biashara yako. Some areas will not be favorable for some things. Na tukasema kama pahali unakaa, ndugu zetu Waislamu ndio wengi, ukienda kufungua pork shop hapo sana sana hautafanya vizuri sana. Si hapo ni sawa sawa? Nikikuja hapa niangalie ni nini inatoka hapa sana sana. Kuna wheat, kuna cereals, so hizo nitakujia hapa. Nikizitoa huko nilete hapa kuuza kwa duka, hakuna kitu nitauza juu already kila mtu kwa shamba yake anatoa hizi vitu. But I can do it the other way around. Pick from here, take it to where they don't have. Sawa sawa. So that was environment. Tukaongea mambo ya self drive. Tukasema we have to go the extra mile. If you have to be better than your neighbor doing the same thing, you have to go through to push yourself, ujitume. We talked of business and risk appetite. Kama uko kwa biashara, lazima ukuwe mtu ambaye akona imani na mtu ambaye ana take risks. Nilipatana na msichana mdogo wa kazini yangu wajuzi, aliacha nikiwa kwa bank, so tukaenda mazishi tukakutana. So nikamwambia, by the way I retired from the bank. Akaniambia, now I know you are a born again Christian. Nikamuuliza why? Akaniambia, you know when you are employed, you know the salary will come. Hash is in business. When you are in business, ni imani. na kuchukua risks. Ukiamka haujui kama utarudi kwa nyumba. So akaniambia sasa najua uko mtu wa imani na umeokoka. Sisemi wale wako kwa payslip hawajaokoka, but I sought to understand what was she telling me. She told me, now I know you trust God much more, or you depend on God much more than maybe you thought your salary would do for you. So risk, lazima tunachukua risk. Sometimes tunapata, sometimes tunakosa, but we learn now from the events when we do not get anything. Then we talked about God's favor. Again, we talked about Cain and Abel, and we said we seek God's favor by one, learning his word. What does he require of us? Bishop told us when we came the first crusade that as many, or at the time we receive Christ as Lord, then we become accepted as children of God. Now favor, kwetu tunasemanga huko Central, wega umaga na mushie. Favor starts at home. Bishop akiletewa 10 million hapa, si ataanzia na sisi wenye tuko hapa. So seek God and get to know him. And we have done the first step of knowing Christ and accepting him as our Lord and Savior. So we are open to God's favor, but there is much more in his word that we can learn that draws more favor to us. Bwana asifiwe. So that is how far we went yesterday. Then today in the 15 minutes that are remaining, it's also good to check now. If we are mixed, there are those that are young and are starting their businesses. There are those that are already in businesses. So the advice or the guidance that we give cuts across both. And yesterday we said, you might be very good at farming. Kama kuna mzee pale naona anaelewa ukulima kabisa kabisa. Go be challenged by us even if you don't get anything new that we teach you. There are people who are doing business and they are up high there. And it is good to come and learn and listen also and challenge us. Na jana tukasema hii hapa si kanisa igawaje bishop ako in training. If I say something that you disagree with and you think it you help us in learning, please inua mkono unasema. Ama unatilia mkazo kama jana nilikuwa na watu wanasema yes I have done that. Itatusaidia kusoma. So one of the things that when you are starting a business or when you want to grow or when you want to expand, tumesema kitu ya kwanza kila biashara inahitaji resources ama funds. Not necessarily money, but a way, equipment or being equipped to start a business. Like what we are doing here, we are building on a resource that is called knowledge. We are gathering knowledge from here, and somebody who wants to keep maybe cows, let me not talk about dogs because in Africa we are not very good at keeping them, but cows. Now you have an idea of whom you can call to give you what you require for a start. So that is a resource that you have already gained for yourself. So from the text we read yesterday about the rich man who left his servants with the talents, it is he had the resources himself, and here were people who didn't have the resources. That's why they were still his servants, and he was willing to share to all, to extend the resources to these people. Okay, so here are people with ability, but they don't have the resources, and here is a person with the resources, and for one reason or the other, he did not want to invest that money. He wanted to extend it. So always look for people who have resources, like what we are doing here. Come for trainings. There are people with land here. Nani yako na shamba pahari hajalima? I think my colleague David told me the other day, so he equates what we have in Kiambu, in Thika, and what they have. So he tells me their homestead, I don't know whether I misrepresent here, pahari nyumba zimejengwa, umbwa zinafungwa, kuku zinatembea, is about 1 acre or 2 acres. 2 acres. Nikamwambia kule kwetu Kiambu, 2 acres, you are very rich, hiyo ni shamba kubwa sana. Sijui kama kuna watu wanatoka huko wakahamia hapa juu hapa mashamba ni kubwa. Kiambu, watu wa Githunguri. Ukiwa na shamba ya eka mbili. So I was telling him, I have an uncle on a 100 by 100 who has 56 cows on it. Na akitaka nitampeleka akaniambia, hey, then I think we are very rich. Okay? So the resource is there. Here tuko na mashamba. So that can be a resource that you use. And you don't have to buy. Don't rush to buy. Let the richer ones, wale wametutangulia hawa wanunue mashamba. Because when you buy, you tie a lot of your money or a lot of your resource to something that is not necessarily as productive. So lease to do an experiment first of all. So look for a boss who has the resources, look for a friend who have the resources, and then start from there. The other one I would advise is that, and so resources are open, money, land, an old vehicle at home that one does not use, and you can use it to carry potatoes from the shambas to the town, anything. When you go visiting somebody, look around and see what is idle in their place and see if you can put it into use. And this is for people that are close to you. The other one is, I believe, is starting small and have a gradual growth. Whenever you have interest in something, don't wait until that time you will qualify for a loan of 2 million from the bank to go and do something big. What we are saying, if you want to farm, don't go to the bank to tell them to buy for you a shamba. Most likely they'll not do that for you. But start small. By the time you are reaching the stage where you can buy your own land, they already can see a history. Wanaweza kuona pahali umetoka na pahali umefika, na uwaelezee vizuri, nikipata shamba hii ndio saving nitafanya. This is the advantage I'll have over leasing land. So there is a book that I recommended when we were there at Masai Mara. It's called Kaizen, K-A-I-Z-E-N. It's a Japanese sort of way of doing things where they recommend that you have gradual improvement. Small but gradual improvement. Ile tunasema, don't stop and don't go backwards, but make even small movements towards your goal. Hapo ni sawa sawa. Case study that I wanted to mention, I don't know whether I'll have time. There's a family I follow up what they do in Thika, and okay, God's favor, but this is what happened. They relocated in an emergency, 2008. When I say that, most of you will relate. So when they went, they didn't have schools to take their kids. They didn't know where to look for a house. So when they got the school, they didn't know how the system is. Does the school offer transport? So the wife started taking the children, 2 kids, to school in their pickup. Okay? 2-3 weeks, the neighbor where they had leased a flat, so they are going to the same school with the child there, so requested, can you be taking my child with you instead of her waiting for the bus? So 3 kids in a pickup, hapa mbele ya. Same happened with the rest of the people in the plot. And the kids were 7, and I told that person, now, here you'll have a problem with the government because of compliance. This is a big town, cops are there, so think whether you want to do this or you want to take only your kids. So the lady thought and got the husband's car, which could carry about 10 kids, gave the husband the pickup. So now has how many kids to school? 10. Of course they were paying, these kids were paying. Then it went on, and they bought a small van because the number was increasing. They became too many, bought a minibus. This is a true, real case that I know. Bought a minibus, the 29-seater, got full, got a 51-seater bus and a van to do the same thing. Now, by the time she was coming to know that she's in this thing, she was surprised that she's one of the major transporters of kids in that town. But grew slowly, got to know the risks, got to know the clients, the parents. The parents got to trust them, and then it grows slowly and slowly. At the moment, I think they have 200 kids. They do 2 trips, 200 kids every day. And it's quite big. If you get the figures that they have, it's quite big. We were told of a case of chicken here yesterday. Another family, they realized they are throwing away a lot of food that they waste in the kitchen. Again, a real case that I know. So they decided, why don't we buy 2 chicken? The female chicken are called what? The chicken. Yes. A hen. Yes, two hens. Is there a plural for hen and hens? So 2 hens in the estate on the flats to be eating the mchere ikibakishwa na watoto, okay? So the neighbors made noise that the chicken are smelling, so took them to the village and added a cock. And as Alex was telling us, the numbers increased and increased. Around the COVID time, the number had grown to 200. And when you ask them, they are not in business, they are doing it as a hobby. Okay? Now, when you have 200 kienyeji chicken, you are a serious farmer, especially when you have proper market, okay? But it started from two hens. Quite a number of cases that are, but now where we sort of fall back is where we want to start big. Like when we were growing up in the bank, when we were younger, any manager who retired went to petrol station because the petrol station people are the people with money. They felt they're in that class, so they wanted to start big, not small, but now they didn't know the challenges. So most of them miserably failed. So let's start small, make progressive improvement, and look for that small book called Kaizen. Then if you are going to start a business, it's good to start with the end in mind. Success of this business will look like how? So that you align your everything, the plans that you have, the resources that you have towards reaching your goal. So start with the goal in mind. If you are starting a church, so to say, what are you looking at? Will you do a church and then will you do a school within the church? Will you do a hospital within the church? Will you do a playground within the church? Do you want to have like conference halls? So that when you are putting the first building, already you are putting it on a blueprint as part of what, when the accomplishment comes, it will have fitted in and it will not be a waste of resources. Case in mind, like if you want to do chicken, now you've got to liaise with Gedaiga and he tells you, this is what initially you require, this is what you don't require. How do you dispose the waste that comes from what you're doing? So when you're putting up your house, you know that you are putting it knowing that from here the waste, like pig, I think that is one of the major challenges that we have. When you do pigs, where will you take the waste? How do you drain it out of the house? So that when you are building, you don't build something, then you'll have to redo it again so that it fits in. When you're opening a shop for clothes, where do you want to be maybe in 10 years? What kind of a business will you be having? Now, if you take a small premise, are you able to expand or are you easily able to get within the same location a bigger shop? So these are things that you ask yourself. If you are going into transport, how will we know or how can you tell somebody that I started this 10 years ago and now I have succeeded. Maybe it's the number of vehicles that you have. That is how you'll measure success. Maybe it is the staff, number of staff that you have employed. Maybe it is what we call in business turnovers, cash turnovers. Maybe it is the profit that you make. All that, how will you define that this, what I'm doing, is succeeding? So that is something else that you need. So you have it in mind as you start. What is the picture? Are you able to draw a picture of success of what you are starting, so that you are able to measure along the way that towards the picture, this is what I have achieved. So it's also good to have a plan. It comes along the picture that I'm talking about. Have a roadmap of actualizing the vision that you have, or the objective that you have, or the what you are focusing to do. Now, when you are doing the actualization, we say that resources is a must. So you must know where you are going to get the resources that you require. And I avoid saying money because you can start many things without money. People have money. The hardware, people have money in form of mabatis. So if you can go and borrow mabatis from them and pay slowly, yes, they have given you value, but not necessarily money. So let's not always be in a hurry to ask for money. And I like what Pastor Randy was talking about yesterday, that we need to be empowered. And I think we need to be empowered so that we don't look at wageni kama a source ya nini, ya maybe what we would call handouts, tuangalie kama source ya resources that we require. And then we also become rich enough so that we can support others who are less fortunate with resources. Bwana asifiwe. I hope sijaiharibu sana. But yeah, look at what you can gain. Look at what is around you. I always say churches are the best placed, cheap, resourced place that we have in an environment. Because in church, Bishop, we have bankers. We have people from the media. We have foreigners who are coming with new information. We have, I think yesterday we had a lecturer from the university. I guess we have a vet, we have all these people. He's still here. Oh yeah, I was looking for the glasses. Your image remained in my head because of the glasses, yeah. All these are free resources, and first for the bishop, he should not at all struggle, even if we don't give an offering, but we must give offering, okay? Because the lady who is producing eggs there, and she's drawing knowledge and wisdom from Bishop here, why should Bishop take breakfast 2-3 times without eggs or even chicken, okay? So she doesn't really need to give Bishop money. But that resource that she's producing there will come in handy. Now, that is on the physical bit of it. But if Bishop wanted to set up a university or a tertiary college, he's already a lecturer here, why should he struggle when that resource is within the church or within the community here? Okay? If Bishop wants to set a microfinance, and I will challenge you because my boss has refused to set up a microfinance, and that is one thing I was coming to do. Why don't we set up one? Then we share the profit at the church. I hope you didn't hear that. So why should Bishop go to a non-believer to start setting up the microfinance when there is somebody here who is trained in finances, banking, and such, okay? So all these resources there, it's just bringing it together like what we are doing here. Know who is where. If we have a policeman here and we need to set up a security committee here, Why should we struggle? And that resource is here. If we want our young men trained to keep security when we are having the crusade down there, sometimes I double up to protect the white girl we are with, because everybody, the youngsters want to come, the girls to pull her hair. Why don't we have the policeman charged with the responsibility of training? Because that resource is for free already here, and we are brought together in that we are believers, and he is able to give us that resource. So all these resources are with us. No need for money most of the times, but to talk to people who are knowledgeable on these issues, and we draw a free resource from that. Actually, the other one I'm talking about, I talked about having a plan, a roadmap. So consider raising of funds, allocate funds, learn how to allocate. Yesterday we were saying, let's also do short courses on business studies. Let's do short courses on people management. Edward talked about people management when he was talking. Let's talk about government and policies and compliance. If there are lawyers here, let them come and tell us this is what you need to do when you are registering a company. These are the benefits of operating a limited company as opposed to the kienyeji we do. This is how you avoid the lines that are heavily taxed, not the illegal way, but the legal way. Learn all these things, and we have those resources with us here. Then collaboration, win-win. When you are doing a roadmap, know who are your stakeholders, who are your suppliers, who are the issuing the licenses, the NEMA, who are the people next to you. We had a farmer who was chased away by the neighbors because of pigs again. They were smelling. How do you ensure that you befriend them so that you come to an agreement, so that you also still do your business, but they also don't suffer or they benefit from what you are doing. Then how to manage what you earn, the profits and the losses, how do you apply them in your books, and how do you ensure that there is continuity? The other thing is have the right people and partners. The church where I go, we have so many forums. So we have one for business people. We have one for young professionals. We have all those things that bring people together. And the leadership is able to draw free knowledge and services from them. So have the right people taking care of in your business. I equate the church to business. Get a good accountant when you are in business so that they teach you how to do the bookkeeping, what Edward was talking about. Get it right by using the right people to support you. I've talked about record keeping, and then target market. When you are starting, who are you always, even in a church, like here there was what we targeted when this church, when Muzee started full gospel here. There must have been a target clientele, if I may call it so. Maybe the old were feeling left out. Maybe there were young people who wanted to come in punched jeans and they didn't feel they were fitting in. So when you are starting this business, when you are starting the church, when you are starting whatever you are doing, whom do you have in mind? And it should form part of what we are saying. Have the end in mind. Have a picture of what finally this is the solution that I'm offering to the problem, so that it results into a beneficial business. Where I come from, Full Gospel was among the very first churches, Pentecostal churches. I see my time is gone. And our parents didn't know English, so we simply called it Furu. So kulikuwa na wale wengine sisi PCA na nani na watu wa Furu, and we knew them because they would have keshas, they would have shiuganos. I think shiugano is like what we are having here. conferences. It would go for a weekend, and they were very exciting those days because people would carry their stuffs over lunch hour. You and your family, you go to a corner, you pick your food, and then afternoon session starts. I think we should go back to like now to Gekibia, and since I'm a trainer, I would check where the chapels are being cooked, and it was fun. So target market, who are you targeting? When I joined the church where I go, I was interviewed. They interview people at a church called Sitam, or Nairobi Pentecostal Church. We have a branch in Thika, so I was interviewed, and whoever interviewed me, the pastor, I asked them, why do we have only English service in this church? They don't have interpretation. Hawana maneno mingi. English, ukuje usipoelewa. Okay, of course they don't say you look for another church, but hawata kupatia any solution. So he told me when the church started, it was targeting those people that are in that understanding, mainly the youth, professionals who will not go to church juu amewekwa interpretation ikifanywa. That was the target, and that is what they have maintained. Now you, as you start a business, I talked about you either targeting the very rich who will come and do one transaction, unafunga duka, unaenda jumbani, ama the multitude. Nakumbuka multitude wale walikuwa fed. They come throughout the day, you get very tired, you earn a shilling from every transaction, but you still have clientele. So it is up to you to know, are you targeting the youth, the old? Are you targeting the rich, the poor? Are you targeting those people who are in a market or River Road in Nairobi? Who are you targeting? So that as you align your business, then it is easy for them. If you put a business that targets those of us at the bottom of the pyramid, those that stay in the slums, those that do not dress well, and you put it at, I don't know which is the best building here, the building that has Equity there. Do you think those people will be comfortable walking there with the tourists in their torn shoes? They will not. They will fear. They will feel intimidated. So yes, the business model was good, but the location where you have taken it is not right for them. The same way, if you put the tourist attires maybe in the downtown, they will not go there, although your business model is very good, but you missed it out on location. So targeted market dictates so many things, where you put your business, how you package your products. All that becomes very important for you to consider. Finally, it is good to be real, know that there will be good times and bad times. When COVID came, it didn't matter how good a business person you are. Most people are left at the same level. But quickly there are those that were able to adjust, okay? But it's good to know good times will be there, hard times will be there. How do you quickly recover should something happen to your particular when paper bags were banned? One of my main customers in the bank was doing paper bags in Thika, China. Luckily, the government of China wrote off the loan they had given him and helped him to set up an industry for the other bags. I don't know what they are called. But imagine there were also Kenyans who were producing those paper bags, and it was zero for them because our government could not support all of them. So such things happen, not because you are a bad business person, but bad days come even to us who believe. But how quickly are you able to adjust? Then be patient. Most businesses, especially small and medium enterprises, they break even at 6 months. They could go all the way to 18 months. And then proper profitability can sometimes even take up to 3 years. So if you are somebody who come in because you think I have a shop and I have bought a car, and you think you'll come in and start the shop and buy a car, it might be a bit frustrating. So you've got to be patient. And then finally, you've got to be passionate. Always businesses that are generated or born from, what do we call them? Things that you love, hobbies, things that you love doing, they do very well because you come in with your heart into the business and easily put the business into your heart. It's already there. You are already flowing. There is already a communication with your business, your capabilities, and also the environment. You have created it. You've seen the mamas who start by kushona with mekuha. I don't know what the... I realize most of you are able to understand my Narok language. Then when they open like shops for dresses, it like flows because the mind is tuned to dressing people. It just comes in. She may not have a lot of education, but it is already in her because it is a hobby. She knows the tricks. She knows where to save money. She knows where to make the customers happy. It's already in them. So be passionate. Push to have your business in your heart, and also put your whole heart in your business. Next time we come, if it is you who will accept to come back again, then we can look at identifying business opportunities. It's a bit tricky because every environment has different opportunities, and different people have different tastes. I may not want to go to transport. You may be interested in going there. But basically, the principles are all the same. It is problems that we try to solve that create businesses for all of us. Let me stop there. We will look at that next time. And it's also good to leave it hanging so that you are sure to be invited again. So it's not good ukienda pahali unamaliza kila kitu. Achia namba 5 uambie there are another 5. Maybe we'll look at them. So Bishop will invite you to come and finish 5. Start another one and leave it hanging. Thank you very much, and God bless. Any question? So banks go there. They have people who have information. Befriend them. Their work is to give out money mostly. So when you go to ask for funding, it's not a bother to them. We will look at next time, what do banks look at, what are you interested in, and how do you bring them to align so that it's easy for you to get funding. Sometimes they give you advice and not funding, and it still helps you. That is part of their work, and it's for free for all banks, because they also want you to be their clients. So walk there and ask them anything. CRB, I told those who are at Masai Mara, go to any bank with your ID, ask them you'd want to see your credit reference bureau status. Yeah, because the banks will check, are you a good person when you are given money, or do you run away with it? Na tukasema wale watu tulichukua ile hustler fund. I hope, nimeona dada amecheka kwa klasi yao, almost everybody never paid back. Please, as a Christian, wacha tulipe. Si pesa ya serikali, and it is there in your CRB. So anyway, you will still have to pay kama when you are serious business person. Thanks so much, Bishop.
Asante. Bwana wetu apewe sifa. Mambo ni mengi ya kupokea, ni vile masaa inakataa, na uwezo pia ninaona wengine uwezo inakataa, kwa sababu naona kuna mambo lazima yaandamane ili masomo yaingie.